I hadn't eaten in 2 days, and that night, I truly believed I was about to disappear like I never mattered. Then I stumbled across an abandoned car, and somehow my name was already inside it. What I found next made me realize someone had been watching me my entire life. If you've ever felt alone, like the world forgot you, then this story is going to stay with you. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. I love reading them. Now, let me take you back to the moment everything changed. The night I found the car, I hadn't eaten in 2 days, and I had already decided that nobody in this world was ever coming back for me. But what I didn't know, what I couldn't possibly have known, was that something inside that rusted, forgotten vehicle was already waiting for me, and it would change everything. If you've ever felt invisible, like the world walked past you without even noticing, then you'll understand why I almost didn't open that door. I was 14 years old, and by that point, I had learned one thing very clearly. Hope hurts more than hunger. My name is Ethan Cole, or at least, that's what I remember someone calling me once. Most people didn't call me anything. They just looked through me. I slept behind a grocery store dumpster on the edge of town. It wasn't a good spot, but it was mine. There was a broken wall that blocked most of the wind, and if I was lucky, I could find expired bread or dented cans in the trash. That night, the air felt colder than usual. Not just the kind of cold that bites your skin, but the kind that crawls inside your chest and stays there. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to keep whatever warmth I had left from escaping. Just one more night, I whispered to myself. I didn't even know what I meant by that anymore. One more night until what? Nothing ever changed. The next morning came slowly, like it didn't even want to show up. Gray sky, damp ground, the smell of rain that never fully fell. I dragged myself up, my stomach twisting so tightly it felt like something inside me was breaking apart. I needed food. That meant moving. I hated moving. Moving meant people, and people meant either being ignored or being told to leave. Still, I had no choice. I walked for what felt like hours, cutting through back alleys and empty streets, avoiding anyone who might notice me. My shoes, if you could even call them, that were worn down so badly, I could feel the cold concrete through the soles. Eventually, I found myself near the outskirts of town. That's when I saw it. At first, I thought it was just another piece of junk, an old car, half hidden behind overgrown weeds and broken fencing. Rust covered most of it, the paint peeling away in long, jagged strips. One of the windows was cracked. The tires looked like they hadn't moved in years. Abandoned, yes, like everything else I knew. I almost kept walking, because abandoned things don't hold anything good. But then something stopped me. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the way the sunlight barely touched the car, like it was trying to hide something. Or maybe it was the strange feeling in my chest, like a quiet voice whispering, "Don't walk away." I hesitated. "Probably nothing," I muttered. Still, my feet didn't move. I glanced around. No one was watching. That wasn't unusual, but this time it felt different, like the world itself had gone quiet just for this moment. I stepped closer. The weeds brushed against my legs as I pushed through, my heart beating faster for no reason I could explain. Up close, the car looked even worse. The door handle was rusted. The glass was dusty. Inside, I could barely see anything through the grime. Definitely nothing valuable. Definitely nothing worth the risk. I reached out anyway. My fingers hovered over the handle. "Don't be stupid," I whispered. "This was how you got into trouble. This was how you got caught. This was how things got worse." But something inside me, something I hadn't felt in a long time, pushed me forward. Curiosity, hope, or maybe just desperation. I grabbed the handle. For a second, nothing happened. Then, click. The sound echoed louder than it should have. My breath caught. I froze, waiting for someone to shout, for footsteps, for anything. But there was nothing, just silence. Slowly, carefully, I pulled the door open. It creaked loudly, like it hadn't been touched in years. The smell hit me first. Old leather, dust, something faintly metallic. I leaned in, squinting through the dim interior. At first glance, it was empty. Just cracked seats, a torn dashboard, a steering wheel coated in grime. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. "Yeah, figures," I said under my breath. Of course there was nothing. "There's never anything." I was about to step back, about to close the door and walk away, when something caught my eye, a small glint, barely visible, near the floor on the passenger side. I frowned. "What is that?" I climbed halfway into the car, ignoring the way the seat groaned under my weight. Reaching down, I brushed away some dirt and debris, and then I saw it. A key. Not just any key. It was old, but not rusted like everything else. It looked taken care of, almost like it didn't belong in this car at all. Attached to it was a small metal tag. I wiped it clean with my sleeve. There were words engraved on it. My hands started to shake slightly as I read them. "Ethan." I froze. My name. My heart slammed against my chest. No, that's not. It didn't make sense. It couldn't make sense. I'd never seen this car before. I had never been here before. So how? I swallowed hard, my throat suddenly dry. "Coincidence," I whispered. It had to be. There are a lot of Ethans in the world. It doesn't mean anything. But deep down, I didn't believe that, because something inside me was already starting to change. That quiet, empty feeling I had carried for so long, it cracked, just a little. I turned the key over in my hand. There was something else on the tag. A number. No, not just a number. Coordinates. I didn't know exactly what they meant, but I had seen something like it once. On a map in a library I used to sneak into during winter. My pulse quickened. Why would this be here? I looked around the car again. Really looked this time, and that's when I noticed something I had completely missed before. The glove compartment. It wasn't fully closed, just slightly open, like someone had left it that way on purpose. My stomach tightened. I slowly reached over and pulled it open. Inside, there was a small envelope. Clean, untouched, completely out of place in this broken, forgotten car. My fingers trembled as I picked it up. On the front, written in neat, careful handwriting, was my name, Ethan Cole. Not just Ethan. My full name. I stopped breathing. For a long moment, I just stared at it. Every instinct I had told me to drop it, to run, to pretend I never saw any of this, because this wasn't normal. This wasn't safe. This wasn't possible. But another voice, louder now, refused to let me walk away. I had spent my whole life being forgotten, ignored, invisible, and now something had found me. Something knew my name. Slowly, carefully, I opened the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper, and as I unfolded it, my entire world shifted, because the first line read, "If you're reading this, Ethan, it means you found the car." I felt my knees go weak. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't random. This was meant for me. And the next line made my heart stop. "I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you." I read that line again and again. My vision blurred, not because of dust this time, but because something deep inside me had just been touched in a way I didn't understand. Sorry for me. No one had ever said that to me before. Not like this, not like they meant it. My fingers tightened around the paper. "Who are you?" I whispered. My voice sounded smaller than I expected. I swallowed hard and forced myself to keep reading. "I don't have much time, so I'll keep this short. If you found this, it means you're ready, even if you don't know it yet." Ready for what? My chest tightened. This didn't feel like a joke anymore. This felt real, too real. You've been told your whole life that you're alone, that you don't matter, that no one is coming. I stopped. Every word hit like it knew me, like it had been watching me, like it understood things I had never told anyone. "How?" I muttered. My heart was racing now. This wasn't just a note. This was something else, something bigger. I forced myself to continue. "But that's not true." It was never true. A strange warmth flickered inside me, small, fragile, dangerous. Hope. I shook my head slightly, trying to push it away. Hope gets you hurt. I had learned that the hard way. Everything you need is already in your hands. The key you found. It's not for the car. I instinctively looked down at the key in my palm. My grip tightened. "Not for the car." Follow the numbers on the tag. Don't trust anyone, and whatever happens, don't let them take it from you. My breath hitched. "Them?" Who was them? My eyes scanned the page faster now. If they find you before you reach it, you won't get a second chance. A chill ran down my spine. This wasn't just a message. This was a warning. My stomach twisted. I glanced around instinctively, suddenly feeling exposed, like someone might be watching me even now. But the street was still empty. Silent. Too silent. I looked back at the paper. The final line sat there, waiting, and when I read it, everything inside me broke open. I love you, son. The world went quiet. No wind, no distant cars, nothing. Just that word, son. My hand started shaking uncontrollably. No, I whispered. I shook my head, backing slightly out of the car. This isn't real. It couldn't be. I didn't have a father. At least, not one I remembered. All I had were fragments. Blurry images. A voice I couldn't quite place. A feeling. That someone used to care. But it had always felt like a dream. Something my mind made up to survive. Until now. My chest tightened painfully. Why now? I choked out. Where were you? The anger came fast, sharp, hot. Years of silence. Years of hunger. Years of being alone. And suddenly, a letter shows up now? When I've already learned how to live without anyone. I crumpled the paper slightly in my hand. Too late, I muttered. But even as I said it, I didn't believe it, because something else was happening inside me. Something I couldn't control. A question. What if it's not too late? I closed my eyes tightly. This was dangerous. Thinking like this, hoping like this. It would destroy me if it wasn't real. But the evidence was right in front of me. The key, the note, my name. My full name. No one knew that. No one ever used it. Except I froze. A memory flickered. Faint, distant. A man's voice. Calling me Ethan Cole like it mattered. Like I mattered. I opened my eyes slowly. No, I whispered again, but this time it sounded different. Less denial. More fear. I looked back at the note, scanning it again, this time slower. That's when I noticed something I had missed. At the bottom, a symbol, small, hand-drawn. It looked like a triangle, with a line through it. And next to it, another set of numbers. Different from the ones on the key. My pulse quickened. 2 locations? I muttered. Why would there be 2? Which one was I supposed to follow? Or was it both? My mind raced. This wasn't just a random message. This was a trail. A path. Left for me. Which meant someone had planned this. A long time ago. My stomach dropped. If someone planned this, then someone else might know about it. Them. The word echoed in my head. Don't trust anyone. A sudden noise snapped me out of my thoughts. Footsteps. Close. Too close. My head jerked up. Hey! A voice. Rough, suspicious. What are you doing in there? My heart slammed into my ribs. I quickly stuffed the note into my shirt and jumped out of the car. A man stood near the broken fence. Mid-40s, dirty jacket, sharp eyes. Not friendly. Nothing, I said quickly, stepping back. He narrowed his eyes, looking me up and down. Doesn't look like nothing, he said, walking closer. My body tensed. Run! That instinct hit me instantly, but I forced myself to stay still. Running would make it worse. Just looking, I muttered. His gaze shifted to the car, then back to me. You find anything? He asked. Too casual. Too interested. My grip tightened around the key in my pocket. No, a lie. My first real one in a long time. His eyes lingered on me for a second longer than they should have. Then he smirked slightly. Yeah, sure, he said. He stepped closer. One more step, and he'd be too close. My heart pounded louder. I took a small step back. Look, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm leaving. He didn't move, just watched me. Then, his eyes flicked down to my pocket. My breath caught. Did he see it? The key? A long silence stretched between us. Then he spoke. If you found something in there, he said slowly, you might want to hand it over. My stomach dropped. This wasn't random. He knew, or at least he suspected. I didn't find anything, I said again, firmer this time. He smiled. But it wasn't friendly. Last chance, kid. My heart raced. Think. Don't trust anyone. The words echoed in my head. I took another step back. Then another. Not happening, I said quietly. And then I ran, not because I was brave, but because I was terrified. My legs burned instantly, weak from hunger, but fear pushed me forward faster than I had moved in weeks. Behind me, I heard him shout, "Hey, get back here!" I didn't look back. Looking back slows you down. And right now, slowing down meant losing everything. My heart pounded so hard it felt like it would tear out of my chest. Every breath came sharp and uneven, my lungs screaming for air. Turn left. I darted into a narrow alley, nearly slipping on wet concrete. My shoulders slammed into a wall, but I didn't stop. Run! Keep running. Footsteps echoed behind me. Closer than I expected. He was chasing me. "Kid, I'm not playing!" His voice sounded different now. Angrier. Desperate. That made it worse. If he was this serious, then whatever I had, whatever this key meant, it wasn't small. I pushed harder. My vision blurred slightly as I sprinted past dumpsters, broken crates and piles of trash. The world turned into flashes. Grey walls, dark corners, shadows moving. I cut through another alley and burst out onto a side street. Empty, thank God. I didn't slow down. I crossed it quickly and ducked behind an old building, pressing myself against the wall. Silence. My chest heaved as I struggled to breathe. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 footsteps. They passed the alley I had just come from. Fast, heavy, then gone. I stayed still, completely still. Even my breathing felt too loud. 10 seconds, 20, a full minute, nothing. He was gone. I slid down against the wall, my legs giving out beneath me. My hands shook uncontrollably. "What was that?" I whispered. This wasn't normal. People didn't chase you like that, unless you had something they wanted. My hand instinctively went to my pocket. The key, still there. Cold, solid, real. I pulled it out and stared at it. That's what this is about, isn't it? My voice cracked slightly. This wasn't just some random thing left behind. This key mattered. A lot. And if one person knew about it, others might too. Them. The word hit harder now. Don't trust anyone. I swallowed hard. Okay. Think, I muttered. I forced myself to calm down. Panicking wouldn't help. I needed a plan. For the first time in a long time, I had something worth protecting, and I wasn't going to lose it. Not now, not after everything. My mind went back to the note. The coordinates. That had to be the next step. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a direction, a path. And right now, it was the only thing I had. I reached into my shirt and pulled out the note again, unfolding it carefully. My eyes scanned the numbers. I didn't fully understand them, but I recognized the pattern. Latitude, longitude. I had seen it before, in books, maps, places, real places. Which meant this wasn't just a message. It was a destination. My pulse quickened. "Where does it lead?" I whispered. There was only one way to find out, but there was a problem. A big one. I had no map, no phone, no way to look it up. I exhaled slowly. Think. That's when it hit me. The library. Old, quiet, almost always empty. I used to go there sometimes, when it got too cold outside. They had computers, internet, maps, everything I needed. But my stomach twisted. The library meant people, staff, questions, eyes watching. And now, maybe worse. What if that man followed me? What if someone else was already looking? I tightened my grip on the note. Don't trust anyone. The words echoed again. I couldn't stay here, and I couldn't ignore this. Which meant I had to take the risk. I stood up slowly, my legs still shaky but steady enough. "All right," I muttered. "Let's find out where this goes." The walk to the library felt longer than usual. Every shadow looked suspicious. Every passing car made my heart jump. I kept my head down, moving quickly but not too fast. Blend in. Don't draw attention. That's how you survive. When I finally reached the building, I paused across the street. Old brick walls, tall windows. Quiet. Normal. It looked the same as always. But it didn't feel the same. Nothing did anymore. I crossed the street and stepped inside. Warm air hit me instantly. My body almost relaxed on its own. Almost. The smell of books and paper filled the space. Soft footsteps echoed faintly. A few people sat at tables, reading, typing, living normal lives. I felt out of place immediately, like I didn't belong here. Like I never did. Just focus, I whispered to myself. I kept my head down and moved toward the computers in the back. No one stopped me. No one said anything. Good. I slid into a chair and stared at the screen. For a moment, I hesitated. This was it. The next step. Once I looked this up, there was no going back. I glanced around. No one was watching. Good. I turned back to the computer and slowly typed in the numbers from the key. Enter. The screen loaded. For a second, nothing happened. Then, a map appeared. My breath caught. A red marker blinked on the screen. Far. Not just across town. Not even close. It was outside the city. Deep into an area I didn't recognize. Surrounded by nothing. No buildings. No streets. Just land. Empty land. What is that? I whispered. It didn't make sense. Why would someone send me there? There was nothing there. Or at least, nothing visible. I leaned closer to the screen, zooming in. The map details sharpened slightly. And that's when I saw it. Barely visible. A faint outline. A structure. Hidden. Almost erased. My heart started racing again. That's it. I breathed. But that's where it leads. But why hide it? Why make it so hard to find? Unless it wasn't supposed to be found. Not by everyone. Only by me. I sat back slowly. This was real. All of it. The note. The key. The warning. And now, a destination. I swallowed hard. Okay, I said quietly. I'll go. The words surprised even me. But they felt right. For the first time in my life, I wasn't just surviving. I was choosing something, even if it was dangerous. Even if it made no sense. I stood up from the chair. But as I turned to leave, something caught my eye. A reflection in the dark screen beside me. My breath stopped. Someone was standing behind me. Watching, someone was standing behind me. Watching. My heart stopped for a split second. Don't turn too fast. Don't panic. That's how you give yourself away. I forced my body to move slowly, casually, like I hadn't noticed anything. But inside, everything was screaming. Run! I stood up from the chair, pretending to stretch slightly, and turned just enough to see him. Not the same man from before. This one was different. Cleaner. Better dressed. Calm. Too calm. Mid-30s. Sharp jawline. Dark coat. Eyes that didn't blink enough. And those eyes, they were locked on me. Not curious. Not confused. Certain. He knew. My stomach dropped. I looked away immediately and started walking toward the exit. Not too fast. Not too slow. Normal. Be normal. My pulse pounded in my ears as I passed the bookshelves, each step feeling heavier than the last. Don't look back. Don't look back. But I couldn't help it. Just a glance. He was moving, following me. Not rushing, not hiding it either. Just following. That made it worse, because it meant he wasn't afraid of being seen. I pushed the door open and stepped outside. Cold air hit my face instantly. Think. Where do I go? Left. Crowd. More people. Safer. I turned left and picked up my pace. Footsteps behind me. Still there. Still steady. Okay, I whispered under my breath. Okay, you wanted this. Now deal with it. I cut across the street, weaving between a few pedestrians. A woman gave me an annoyed look as I brushed past her. Good. More attention. More witnesses. But when I glanced back again, he was still there. Unbothered. Untouched by the crowd. Like he moved through people instead of around them. Who is this guy? My breathing quickened. This wasn't random anymore. Two people. Both interested. Both watching. This was bigger than I thought. Much bigger. I turned another corner, this time heading toward a busier road. Cars. Noise. Movement. If I lost him here, I might have a chance. I sped up. My legs protested instantly, still weak from everything, but I ignored it. Pain didn't matter right now. Only distance. Only survival. A loud horn blared as I crossed without looking. Watch it, kid! Someone shouted. I didn't stop. Didn't care. I reached the other side and ducked into a narrow, Street filled with small shops and stalls. Perfect. Crowded. Messy. Confusing. I slowed slightly, blending in with the people. Head down, shoulders relaxed. Disappear. That's the goal. Disappear. I grabbed an old jacket hanging outside a stall and slipped it on without stopping. Too big. Didn't matter. Different. That's what I needed. I kept walking. 5 steps. 10. 15. Then I risked another glance. My heart dropped. He was still there. Closer now, and this time he smiled. Not friendly, not even threatening, just confident, like he already knew how this would end. A cold wave ran through my body. He wasn't chasing me. He was letting me run, because he knew something I didn't. Because he wasn't worried. That thought hit harder than anything else. I turned sharply into another alley, this one darker, quieter. My footsteps echoed as I moved deeper inside. Think, think, think. The coordinates, the place. That's the goal. But I couldn't go there like this. Not with someone following me. I needed to lose him. Now! I spotted a metal door slightly open along the alley wall. Without thinking, I slipped inside. Darkness. The smell of dust and oil. Some kind of storage room. I pressed myself against the wall, barely breathing. Seconds passed. Then, footsteps outside. Slow. Measured. They stopped right outside the door. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure he could hear it. Silence. Then his voice. Calm, controlled. You're smarter than the others. My blood ran cold. The others? What others? I know you can hear me, he continued. Running won't help you. I clenched my fists, trying to stay silent. Every instinct screamed at me to bolt, but I didn't move. You found something, he said. And now, you're part of something much bigger than you understand. His words sank deep, because I already knew that part was true. You don't know who to trust, he added. Good, you shouldn't. My breath caught slightly. Then, why is he telling me this? You have 2 choices, he said after a pause. Keep running, and eventually lose everything, a beat. Or come with me, and I can help you understand what your father started. My entire body froze. Father, he said it so casually, like it wasn't the most important word in my world right now, like it wasn't the reason I was even here. My mind raced. How does he know that? Who is he? I swallowed hard, my voice barely working. Who are you? I asked, unable to stay silent anymore. A small pause. Then, my name doesn't matter, he replied. What matters is what you're holding. The key. My grip tightened in my pocket. You're being watched, he continued, by people who won't ask questions like I am. A chill ran down my spine. They'll take it, he said quietly. And when they do, they won't leave you behind. That wasn't a warning. That was a promise. I closed my eyes for a second. Think. This could be a trap. Or it could be the truth. Either way, standing here wouldn't solve anything. What do you want? I asked. To help you finish what he started, the man said. Before they stop you. My heart pounded. This was it. The decision. Safe or unknown. Run or face it. Trust or stay alone. I opened my eyes slowly. For the first time in my life, I wasn't just reacting. I was choosing. And something deep inside me, something new, something stronger than fear, spoke up. I stepped toward the door and said quietly, I'm not giving you anything. A pause. Then I added, but I'll hear what you know. Silence. Then a soft chuckle. Good, he said, because you're going to need it. I reached for the handle and slowly opened the door. I opened the door. And for the first time since all of this started, I didn't run. The man stood a few steps away, hands in his coat pockets, completely relaxed, like he had all the time in the world. Like he had already won. Up close, his presence felt heavier. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just controlled. That kind of control is dangerous. Smart choice, he said quietly. I didn't respond. I stepped out of the doorway, keeping my distance. Start talking, I said. My voice was steadier than I felt. His eyes studied me for a moment. Measuring, calculating. Then he nodded slightly. Your father wasn't who you think he was, he began. My jaw tightened. I don't think anything about him, I snapped. I don't even know him. A flicker of something passed through his eyes. Not surprise, more like confirmation. That's exactly the problem, he said. Silence stretched between us. I crossed my arms, more to stop them from shaking than anything else. Then fix it, I said. Explain. He glanced around the alley briefly before stepping closer, but not too close. Careful. He was always careful. Years ago, he said, lowering his voice slightly, your father worked on something. Valuable. My pulse quickened. Valuable how? Money? Secrets? Power? I didn't interrupt. He wasn't alone, the man continued. There were others. A group, smart people, engineers, analysts, people who understood systems. Systems? What kind of systems? I asked. He held my gaze. The kind that control things people don't even realize are being controlled. That didn't answer anything, and yet it answered everything. A strange unease settled in my chest. This thing they built, he said, it was never supposed to be finished. Why? I asked. Because if it was, he paused slightly, it would change who holds power. My stomach tightened. This wasn't small. This wasn't just money. This was bigger. Way bigger. And my father? I asked carefully. He finished it, the man said. My breath caught. And then he disappeared. The alley felt colder. He didn't disappear, I said, shaking my head slightly. He left. Left me. That part stayed unspoken. The man's expression softened, just slightly. No, he said quietly. He hid it. My mind raced. Hid what? The result, he replied. The key to everything he built. My hand instinctively tightened around the key in my pocket. This key? No, it couldn't be that simple. He knew they would come for it, the man continued. So he split it, broke the access into pieces, scattered it. My heartbeat sped up. The coordinates, the second set of numbers, the key. They've been searching for it ever since, he added. They? I asked. His expression darkened slightly. The ones who funded the project, he said. The ones who thought they owned it. A corporation, of course. There's always someone at the top, always someone pulling strings. And now, he looked directly at me. They know it's been found. A cold wave hit me. They saw me, I whispered. At the car. He nodded once. That man who chased you, he said. He wasn't just some random scavenger. I felt sick. He was watching that location, the man continued. Waiting for me. So this whole time, I muttered, this was a trap. Not for you, he said. For the key. I swallowed hard. And now I have it. Yes. Silence again. Heavy, unavoidable. Why are you helping me? I asked finally. His lips curved slightly, not a smile, not really. Because your father trusted me. My eyes narrowed. Then where were you? I shot back. That hit. I saw it, a crack in his calm. Just for a second. I wasn't fast enough, he said quietly. That answer didn't satisfy me. But it felt honest, and that made it more dangerous. Because it made me want to believe him. I looked away, thinking. Everything inside me was split. Half of me screaming to run. The other half, leaning in. What happens if I follow the coordinates? I asked. His eyes sharpened. You'll find the next piece, he said. And after that? He hesitated, just slightly. That depends on whether they find you first. Not comforting. At all. And you? I asked. What do you get out of this? He didn't answer right away. Then, closure, he said. I studied him, trying to read him, trying to find the lie. But if there was one, I couldn't see it. All right, I said finally. A decision forming. Not safe, not smart, but necessary. I'm going. His expression didn't change, but I could tell. He expected that. I know, he said. That irritated me. Stop acting like you know everything, I snapped. Then prove me wrong, he replied calmly. I exhaled sharply. Annoying, but focused. What's your plan? I asked. For now, he said, we get you out of the city. We? That word again. I hesitated, then shook my head. No, I said firmly. I go alone. His eyes narrowed slightly. That's not a good idea. Neither is trusting someone I just met, I shot back. A pause. Then, fair, he admitted. At least he didn't argue. I took a step back. Then another, putting space between us. If you're telling the truth, I said, I'll see you again. And if I'm not? He asked. I held his gaze. Then you won't. Silence. Then, he nodded once. Follow the main road out, he said. Avoid checkpoints. And don't stop moving. I memorized every word. Got it. I turned to leave. But before I did, I stopped. One question still burning in my mind. I looked back at him. What did my father build? I asked. This time, he didn't answer right away. His eyes held mine, and for the first time, there was something different in them. Not control, not calculation. Something heavier. Something the world isn't ready for, he said quietly. A chill ran through me. And then I walked away, out of the alley, out of the city, and straight into something I didn't understand yet. But one thing was clear now. I wasn't just a homeless kid anymore. I was part of something. Something dangerous. Something hidden. Something that had been waiting for me. Long before I found that car. And whatever was waiting at those coordinates, it wasn't just my future. It was the truth. And I was finally going to face it. If you've made it this far, tell me, would you have trusted him? And if you want to see what happens next, make sure you don't miss what's coming.